You're listening to the MLS Fantasy Insider, bringing you weekly tips, tricks, and advice for the official MLS fantasy game.
All right, hello everybody. I always kind of jam a little bit. I love the new intro. I don't even know if you all can hear it. For those of you, I don't even know if the host can hear it, so I'm just sitting here wiggling in the screen. For those of you who are in chat with us, let me know if you actually hear the intro because I do play it before the show starts, and it's at least on the podcast when you listen to it. So. It makes me happy. Welcome tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here to talk about round 7, the final round of the first qualifying. Good, we do hear it. Fantastic, good. I'm glad you guys do. That makes me happy. Yeah, we're talking about the round 7, the last round for the first qualifier. Just doing the usual social media check here. So we've got... on-air update first for the MLSFI Twitter account, and then tweet it out on Fantasy Boss, tweet it out on MLSFI with these cool little Stream Deck buttons. So anybody who is there with us right now, if you would please share the social media tweets that just went out, that would be fantastic. Helps us get some more traction, some more eyes and ears on the show, and of course, like the show, like the YouTube feed. That also helps with the, I won't say subscribe, I mean, you guys know, you're welcome to subscribe. I will never, my mic's a bit loud, thanks Blaine. I can turn some of that down. I will never discourage people from subscribing, but please do. There we go. The beautiful things you all get to see before the show starts. How am I now, Blaine?
Oh, I was just commenting from chat.
Commenting from chat. Well, chat. How am I? Whoa. Sound. My mic is off. Sound's off. My audio's too high. How is it now? I've tweaked it down some. Does it sound any better? Tyler? Sean?
I just asked the living room.
Do I just need to talk softer? I'm turning down some of the levels. Turn down.
Spencer says it's better.
Still having some issues. Okay, turning it down, way down. How's this sound? Any better? You guys are fantastic. You're like our own producer Anders. Right here. I sound beautiful. That is what Ron says. This is where we will keep it because I sound beautiful. And if we were still putting in the little quotes from the show into the intro, that would be there. I sound beautiful. Yeah, no, appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I just had to tweak some of these audio mixer settings, and it's all good. So yeah, it's like I said, please share the social media. Really appreciate it. We have a good show so far. I mean, I've been stoked. I think we've had 9 great episodes so far to kick off the year, and we've had some great response from chat, great guests. So looking forward for, I guess this is number 9. I already know it's going to be great. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And if everything else is good, static. I can't help static. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Okay, Google, turn off Vornado.
But you just talked to me.
All right, turning off Vornado.
That might help the static. Okay, there it goes. That was my fan that was on because it's hot. I get to work from home the rest of the week because it's so hot in my office because the air conditioning broke. So, good times. All right, well, that's all we can do to make me sound more beautiful. So we will get started. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us tonight. We're gonna get this going. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the MLS Fantasy Insider, our preview of round 7. Oh no, pause. Hit the record button.
No, I need a hand signal. That's what I was trying to do. What should I?
Yes.
What should I do?
No.
This meeting is being recorded.
It spoke to us. Okay. Pause. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. For real this time. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the MLS Fantasy Insider, our preview of round 7. This episode is brought to you by a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of Montreal voices suddenly cried out in terror and were silenced by an FC Cincinnati first victory. Wait, sorry. No. Actually, brought to you by the amazing Patreon community for the MLS Fantasy Insider and MLSFantasyBoss.com. You guys knew I'd work in a Star Wars reference after we missed May the 4th. I'm your host, Reed Connolly from MLS Fantasy Boss, and tonight I'm joined by our co-hosts, Blaine Riffle and Ashley Savage. I'd also like to welcome our special guest straight from the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord admin player pool, Christian Ward, a.k.a. X-Ward, Crossward, whatever you want to say that. How you doing, y'all? That was a weird... Yeah, it was like a combination of y'all and guys, and it just didn't work out. So how are you all doing?
I'm good.
I'm great.
That's
just beautiful.
You're beautiful. We're all beautiful tonight. That's what it is. I like the pause because Ashley's like, I wait for Blaine to go first, and Blaine knows it, and so he waits.
I know. It's a nice game we like to play, Blaine and I.
It is, and you know the funny part is people who are listening to the podcast may not know because I edit some stuff sometimes when there's long pauses, so it just sounds different sometimes. But those of you who have joined us live, you get the full behind the curtain view. Thank you everyone who is joining us live. Thank you, Kingdom. I thought that was a good opportunity for the Star Wars reference. Like I said, no May the 4th episode this year, so had to work something in. Very excited to have Christian with us here. He is our Minnesota expert and one of the admins over at the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord. So if you are a frequent visitor there, you've probably encountered him before, but he is top-notch, and if you have any problems with Discord, you can let him know because he can help fix them, as can Older Goaler, but Older Goaler is camera shy and will not come on the show, so there we go. Christian, welcome back. Second appearance on the show.
Thanks. Yeah, second one.
Yes, excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I know we're going to, slight teaser in this first part of the show, this first segment, we're going to have a Minnesota breakdown because I know I've been wondering about this, and I think some other people who have been listening will appreciate it, just what to expect from Minnesota after the slow start, a small uptick, then a bye week going forward. So we're going to get to that really shortly. But before there, let's do the quick usual recap of our teams and their results from the previous round. Blaine.
Yeah, 83 points, so not too happy about that. If I had been a little bit closer to the pack, I'd only need to make up about 25, 30 points to make Champions League. As it sits now, I'm about 40 points back, and I don't think there's a way I can make up 40 points in a single week. Lots of misses all around. Brandon Bye didn't hit. New England giving up losing the clean sheet there. Brad Smith doing Brad Smith things to us. We talked about him being best player. Yeah, I think it went to his head. I had Chicharito. It's so hard to judge a player when you get a red card on your team that early in the game. It changes up the dynamic when you're going offensive. Honestly, if you're going to have a red card, you almost want defenders on the team that gets the red card because they're going to bunker and it's going to help your chances there. Attackers usually drop off. Medina on the bench only gave me a 4, so I rolled away from him and hit with Glesnes on the switch there to make up a little bit of ground. But overall, not a great week. The only really good thing I had going for me is I did Captain Heel. So 30 points right there. I'll take that. 83, it's the first drop I've had in overall rank this season. I've been steadily climbing since week 1, and this one just set me back. I think that's going to kill my Champions League hope for this first set.
Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, I got 76, which I feel great about because I captained Brad Smith. So to get a 76 without captaining Heel, I think I'm upset at Brad Smith, but I'm not that upset at my week. I had a couple misses too, which again, until the last 7 minutes was a great captain choice, and I kind of stand by it, but not really. I had a couple hits. I had Lille hit. I had Mialovic, which I think a lot of people did too. I swapped in Vela last minute, which was better than who I had in there. And that Nashville defense came up for me like I think it did for a lot of other people. But, generally not my favorite week. I was so many points outside of Champions League that I wanted to kind of just do something very different. and mathematically captaining Brad Smith made sense to me. It just happened to be his worst week in fantasy in 7 weeks. So what are you going to do? But yeah, so I slipped slightly, but not a ton in overall ranking, but definitely not getting into that Champions League slot this time.
Christian, how'd you do?
I did okay. I scored enough to get week rank 11 with 114 points.
Yeah, okay, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of actually, it's so funny because I set my team up for the auto route. Okay, 5 at the back, 2 defensive scrubs, and went on the boat all Saturday and didn't even look at a game until I got back Saturday night. So, I took a lot of late players and it paid off. So take that for what it's worth, and wink, wink. Anyway, I originally, I like a lot of the people on Discord, we were going full 3 Seattle defenders with Cleveland, Smith, and Roldan. Few people were doing that, and I faded that at the last minute because I just didn't have a good feeling about it. And I pivoted to Yamar, and that actually didn't work out, but it allowed me to get Wagner, Glesnes, Zimmerman, and Johnston. And I ended up scrubbing a mid, which I never do. Also had Heel, I captained him, had Montero, Leal. A lot of people tried to convince me out of Leal, and I said nope. And I'm glad I stuck with it. I took Vela. I'm not disappointed. I don't know if he's ready, but I'm still picking him this week. Anyway, Ketterer worked out for me on the bench. So, Valeri. My only 2 duds were Kyoto and Higuain on the bench. So I got lucky.
Yeah, that's a solid score. I also had 83 points myself. My overall value now is 115.8, so I think I went up 2 points and some change, maybe right there. Went down a little bit in the overall rankings for myself. I think I was within that top. I was within the top 200, and I dropped a little bit below the top 200. So definitely, if you were scoring in the 90s or triple digits, is where you wanted to be to either stay where you were or to inch up some this week. My shortcomings, a lot of it came to my defense, my defensive switcheroos, and the players I was going with. I had Brad Smith as well. Did not come through, and I was like you, Christian, and I faded a midfielder to have part of my auto route to work, and I never do that. And it was to mixed results. I went with the Rui Diaz, Higuain, Vela front line right there, and so I had some good points. Heel came through, Montiero came through, Pereira did not come through for me with Orlando, really. I mean, he had 4 points, but it was okay. But no, I also did not catch any games, and just first I'll say, not looking for sympathy here, just laying it out, to be honest with you all. I was at my grandmother's memorial service on Saturday, and so did not get to check anything, so I also had mostly just auto-roos going there. So I'm not going to have any fantasy takeaways besides Cincinnati won. But no, so that's where it seems like the game came down to as far as points. Pretty competitive, but as we've already mentioned a couple times, this was the final round of the first qualifying quarter. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll call it. Quadrant.
Yeah.
Whatever. The first round of 4. For qualifying for the Champions League. So if you are not in a high spot, it's totally okay. You're going to have a new league added to your league list automatically. That will be for the second. It'll say FCL Fantasy Champions League Qualifier 2, and it's going to be weeks 2 through 14 or whatever it is. And so that'll be your chance to finish in the top 100 again to be able to qualify for the fantasy round. Nothing resets. Your budget stay the same, the players stay the same, but now you've got 7 weeks of information for how to expect players to move forward, and a whole lot of upcoming double game weeks. So that's how it's going to play. Still plenty of time in the season, plenty of opportunities to make it into the Champions League for a shot at some great prizes. Let's do some of the quick takeaways from this past round. Like I said, I'm not going to be giving a takeaway since I didn't really get to watch any games. I read up on some stuff, but I didn't get to really see anything. So I'm just going to pass on this one and to give some time because we're going to let Christian talk about Minnesota as soon as Blaine and Ashley finish. Hint. So Blaine, what's your takeaway from this past round 6?
Yeah, Montreal kind of shocked me with how much they let down. I thought their defense was a little better than that. Nothing against FC Cincinnati here. I think they had a great game, and Lafc has been one of those players through the years that we've looked at to do more. He came on and got a goal within 15 minutes. One of their defenders got another one. Moderita's still a beast in fantasy. He's putting up good numbers, whether he's playing well or not. He got an assist in this one, so as you start looking at this team coming around, he's there. I'm disappointed with Montreal. Mihailovic got the goal to kind of salvage any switcheroo chances there, but everybody else was kind of a dud this week. I guess Kyoto got the assist, but it wasn't enough to do a whole lot. That one was frustrating. Jeff Cameron got an 11 without a clean sheet. Like that, he got an assist in there, but when you start talking, okay, he's got 8 without a clean sheet, minus the assist, that's a huge number for a defender. Maybe he is real. After his first game, he was pretty awful the first game back, but we'll see. Polito picked up 4 bonus points. We always talk about forwards getting bonus points being very valuable. He got 4 bonus points on top of a goal and an assist. He's getting key passes and big chance creations that add up quickly. Shallowy got a goal and an assist as well. That looks like a pretty good two-headed monster coming in, and they both seem to be scoring pretty well when they have a good matchup. I think they're feeding off each other a whole lot. RSL got a draw on the road. We've never really liked them as a road team, but that one to get a comeback against Dallas, at Dallas, really good there. Rubin's still scoring, got on the score sheet again. I don't want to read too much into it. I'm not going to channel too much Jay tonight. I think RSL is on the upswing a little bit, and I think Dallas isn't quite where we would expect them to be. They've got some names we've liked and relied on. I just don't think they're the same team that they were the last few seasons defensively. And so I think this is probably a little bit of RSL being good and a little bit of Dallas coming down to earth. So read into that what you want. But yeah, I think it's a little bit safer to start picking RSL guys a little more often.
Ashley.
Yeah. Zella Ryan picked up player of the week this week for MLS, but both those goals were stunners, but Columbus still hasn't scored from open play. And that is just mind-blowing, unless you count own goal, which I do not. So they've definitely rotated their rosters to accommodate CCL and stuff, but that's just something I'm paying attention to kind of every week with them is why aren't they scoring from open play? So you have a lot of guys like Pedro Santos and Zardes who just aren't getting those points that we normally expect from a Columbus team. So they're at home this week against Toronto, who is a little banged up still and all these things, but that's just something I'm paying attention to from a fantasy perspective because those free kicks were stunners, but I just, if it's not that, can they score? I hope so. Seattle took a tie. I think that the wing-back on wing-back combination that Atlanta brought out against Alex Roldan and Brad Smith had an impact. I know I don't necessarily expect the same from Austin for Seattle this week, but I don't think it's fair to quite yet say we're going to fade some of these Seattle fantasy guys, but they definitely looked a little mortal this week. And then Carlos Vela's back? ? I saw moments. We were able to watch that game, my husband and I, and I saw moments of the Velaness that didn't equate to fantasy, kind of. Obviously, he got 7. He got involved, but they referenced several times when they were watching his minutes and those types of things. So I'm interested to see if a NYC defense is somewhere where he can kind of open it up. I think that Rossi looked good having him back and just kind of pulling that attention away. So I'm not always captaining him yet, but I'm definitely paying attention to what he's doing now that he's working his way back up to match fitness.
All right, Christian, before we turn it over to you to talk about just what Minnesota is going to be fantasy-wise going forward after this weird start, kind of reset, this bye week, is there anything else you want to add about round 6 as a takeaway before you dive in?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I have a couple of notes. I'll just glance over them. I found it pretty cool that the Timbers actually blanked LA Galaxy. I know there was a red card involved. A lot of people saying,
Yeah,
whatever.
Heck of a red card.
Yeah, and it was well deserved. But everybody ahead of time was like, is Chicharito going to be effective on turf? Blah, blah, blah. Is that even a thing? That's what I was going to ask. The other thing that I was kind of observant of was like, there was a lot of unexpected away wins and draws this week. FC Cincinnati was one of them. Congratulations, Reed. Columbus, I did not pick them to win that game. And RSL certainly not. Atlanta looked damn good, in my opinion. Sorry, Ashley, but they did.
I agree. You're not offending me.
And my last takeaway was, what the heck is up with Miami? And I think that's pretty self-explanatory, so we can move on.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you. I saw some good comments in chat as well. But now we're going to let Christian keep talking, because I know Minnesota started out not as we all expected, Christian, I think is a nice way to put it. We started betting against them. They had a couple of victories in their double game week, and now we've had this bye week. And I believe you all have brought in at least one new, maybe 2 new players. You brought in some new players, I think. So this is kind of a reset, maybe ending on a high note. Going forward with fantasy, what should managers be looking at as options for Minnesota?
Well, first and foremost, you should be looking at Reynoso's health. He's been carrying a knock for the last several game weeks. It hasn't been widely publicized, but he has been. And I think he's expected to start every single game. It's just that, is he going to get the minutes? And, he's been taken off a couple of times early, last couple of games. And we know how Heath does not like to sub. So it must be something that concerns him. Of course, it's his star player. But I would not in the near future expect Reynoso to get more than like 75 minutes a game. And for me personally, that does not deter me one bit from picking him. Just so you know. The second thing is, we started out really badly. We went into Seattle with a chip on our shoulder after the playoff loss. And we truly believed that we could beat them. And looking at that lineup that Seattle had and the grand experiment with 3 at the back, we were really confident. And frankly, all of Discord was really confident that Minnesota would go in and kick their butts. And what happened was they kicked our butts quite a bit. And so that basically started a downward spiral. And I can't emphasize enough about gaining a losing mentality. Some people call it that. Some people call it making losing a habit. It became a habit for us. And I kept saying on Discord, hey, we're missing some serious pieces here. And that's what I'd like to talk about next, is the serious pieces that have finally arrived. We went out and spent $5 million, and in other leagues, that's not a lot of money, but in this league, it is. $3.5 million on a designated player named Adrian Hunu. And it's like, yes, it's like Hunu, Reed. That's how you say it.
I mean, it's 50-50. Actually, no, I wouldn't have.
You would have messed that up.
I would have messed that up. I would have.
So he's in the game at 8 million, and he's a forward, which creates all kinds of complications for our expected lineup. The other player is Franco Fragapain. Yep, that's how you say his last name, Fragapain. Skylar told me that he's not in the game yet. He'll be in the game probably tomorrow. He's going to slate him in as a mid at 9 million. And I kind of feel like he's worth it. He's going to be on the left wing. And both of these guys are good. And they are going to be available for selection at RSL this weekend. I am not saying that they're going to start, I'm saying they're available. I don't know what the heck goes through Heath's mind. But if he doesn't start Fragapain, he's going to have a full revolt on his hands because Fragapain is match fit. He's gone through quarantine. He should start. He just spent the last couple of weeks starting and playing in Copa Sudamerica. So with Talaris. Couple other little housekeeping things about Minnesota United, about international call-ups. We're going to go over this later, but Jan Gregush was not called up by Finland. He'll stay with the club. Robin Lode and Jukka Rotala, both of those guys were called up, but they're staying this weekend. So Lode, if you're looking at Lode, he will play. Baka Dubasi is expected to return from injury and feature this week. And my guess is he's going to just slot right in for Raitala. He's going to start. And thank God for that. We're really thin at center back, as you guys all know. And he's a much needed addition. I believe that Hunu will start up top this game if he's match fit. If not, it'll be Avila. It could be Lode again, but I doubt it. Fragapain will start since he's match fit. That's my prediction. So now there's all this talk about how do you fit all these guys into your best 11 and play a match, right? There's all kinds of speculation out there about a 3-5-2. I think that would put all of our best players on the pitch. But of course, Adrian Heath is likely married to the 4-2-3-1 formation. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I have a graphic that I actually posted to Discord. It's just a lineup graphic. And I don't know if you want to show that, Reed, if you can, I don't know. But Hunu is probably going to be either the preferred starting striker in the 4-2-3-1. Fragapain, sorry, I'm doing Reed.
That's right,
Fragapain on the left.
You are.
Reynoso in the center. Lode on the right. Alonso Gregush, Gasper, Boxall, Debasi, Metner, and Miller. Those are probably going to be your starting 11. Why he keeps starting Will Trapp is beyond me, and I have an issue.
Why Tyler Miller? Can I ask?
That's a great question. Because they're probably equally good at two different skill sets. As a goalkeeper, I think you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. You know, like Dane St. Clair has youth, and youth comes with reaction time. And Tyler Miller is a little bit older. He's got the experience. We've seen time and time again Dane St. Clair making reaction saves that are just amazing, saving penalties, things like that. That's what the youth brings. Tyler Miller, on the other hand, he's got positioning where Dane probably doesn't have the best positioning sometimes. So, you know, I don't really disagree with Tyler Miller starting, to be honest, but I love Dane St. Clair, and it's just a happy problem to have, having two great goalkeepers like that. So I hope that answers your question. So the big question, the burning question is, are Minnesota United capable of becoming the first club in MLS history to start a season with 4 straight losses and still make the playoffs? That's going to be the measuring stick of Reynoso and these two new guys and how this team gels. I am hopeful. I really am. And there's a lot of people who look at this lineup and they go, holy cow, they're for real. I haven't heard any feedback, and maybe that's just people being polite because of me, but I haven't heard a single peep about them going, you know, like everybody's really positive about these guys. So I would really focus on Huno and Fragapain and Load and Reynoso. That foursome's going to wreak some havoc in this league, I'm telling you right now. And that's maybe the homer talking, but it's pretty formidable.
You're in good company here with that homer talk.
Yeah, no.
We need a little homer. No, that gets the good invert. Soren, we're thinking that Hunu will start, but it's all TBD. I mean, so if you're looking, go ahead.
This game, he may be coming off the bench.
Okay.
He hasn't played a lot of minutes. If he's match fit, he'll start, obviously, but because he's a $3.5 million designated player. He does like to ease people in, though. Even it doesn't matter how much he spends, but I would think that he would start him if he's match fit. He doesn't like Avila that much. It's kind of plain to see. He likes Avila for what he is, but I don't think he had his sights on Avila as being the number 9.
Yeah. And if you are interested in taking a shot at some of these Minnesota players, this is a good round for them to be part of your team or part of your planning, because Minnesota has the last game of the Saturday matches. So you're looking at Sunday as potential switches if they're coming off your bench, or just your options there if you need to replace somebody if you don't see them in a starting lineup. And with Philadelphia and Seattle, you definitely have fantastic midfield options. And some forward options you could make. And you even have some flyers with Portland and Austin that you may want to take as some differentials. So it's a good setup if you're looking for a differential pick to try to help catch up some points to break into that top 100, or if you just want to have some fun and play around with something new and maybe hope for a value gain. It's a good place to be for this setup. So
yeah, I'm not afraid of RSL's defense.
Then there's that too. Well, thank you so much, Christian. I know that I had thought a lot about Minnesota, and we thought about having you on last week when they were on the bye, but I thought this week made more sense to really talk about what to bring into your team. So it sounds like there is some just slight. I'm trying to think. Like there's a maybe. They may still be good. But it's definitely. To go back to the beginning of the season, this is not a fade team. This is a solid switcheroo team for right now. A solid switcheroo team to see what's going on.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Okay. We are going to move into segment 2 now of our show, our housekeeping section. Okay, so as usual, going to start with congratulations to all of our league winners. So congratulations to it's been all 3 for a while, but the MLS Fantasy Boss and the Discord Classic League, the Open League, is so Brian Coral FC is only winning those 2, not all 3, because the Reddit League is being led right now by Beetle FC. So congrats to you all right there. And then our Patreon Open, HG is winning that, one of our longtime supporters. Thank you so much, with 564 points. Fantastic score right there. And as for the head-to-heads, which are close to my heart, the Discord League is in a 9-way tie of players who are 6-0-0, and I am no longer a member of that elite group right there. It was a rough. I had some very close Discord matches, even with my 83 right there. Patreon.
We had our first pod off this week.
I was going to wrap up with that one.
Oh, sorry.
We did. Sorry. No, forget you heard that already. The Patreon head-to-head, we have the Squirtle Squads. I believe that is Mr. Tyler Bartles, who is winning with a score of 5-1-0, so not perfect there. And then, yes, in the the MLS Fantasy Insider Invitational head-to-head, Skylar is still leading with a perfect score of 6-0-0, perfect record with 6-0-0 right there. But we had our first hosts head-to-head right there. We had Ashley going up against my team, and that was the only head-to-head that I won. this
Yeah.
week. So
Brad Smith and I say you're welcome.
thank you. Yes, the captain. I don't know. Let me just say, I was fooling around with my fantasy team and clicked off for a second. It was like, do you want to leave without saving? I was like, no, I don't want to leave without saving. And then it left. That should make you stop. Aside, sorry, that was a quick tangent. Yes, never captain a defender. That's just where I'm going to come on down on that. It is too risky. It's just ridiculous. And I am hard never captain a defender. It's absolutely so. But you did it.
I did it. I had to try.
You tried. It's okay. Nothing ventured. If you had fun, that's what matters.
I had fun for 83 minutes.
That's true. But congratulations to all of you beautiful people who are winning. That's the theme of the show, the beautiful people.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for playing and being part of all of our communities, and you're doing fantastic. As we already mentioned, this round 7 starts on Saturday, May 29th at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the New York Red Bulls versus Orlando and Chicago versus Montreal. So we have 2 games kicking off at the same time, and they just keep piling on from there. As far as double game weeks go, nobody is on a double game week. We're not into that madness yet. But we have one team on a bye, and that is Vancouver. And so you should be able to easily find some 4.0 players right there. Actually, at forward, you may have a trouble. I think 4.3 might be the lowest. But you can go around and find some good options. But Vancouver is the easy go-to for switcheroos. And I definitely have 2 defenders in that 4.0 range that you can use to make your switches work. Before we jump into Blaine's injuries, suspensions, and call-ups, big shout-out that we have here to Ranchinator, who put together a preliminary list of international call-ups. I'm going to read through that real quick. These are the ones that he is 100% sure about based on the lineups that have already come out. Then we have some other teams that were a little bit more on the fence with. Over with Atlanta, Joseph Martinez, Hernandez, Lopez, and Barco. Nobody for Austin. Chicago, we have Frankowski, Jimenez, and Calvo. Cincinnati has Monterita and Cruz. Colorado has Acosta. Columbus has Awful and Room. DC United has Moreno and Mora. FC Dallas has Acosta, Vargas, and Sean. Anybody? No?
Sean.
Okay. Sean. There we go. I should have gone with it.
You got one right.
I had one, but I just second-guessed myself. Houston, Lassiter, Figueroa, and Garcia. LA Galaxy, I know this is one that's been talked about a lot already, so Leggett, Dos Santos, Gonzalez, and Fisher are all going to be out. I think Leggett and Dos Santos are probably the most crucial ones there. That everybody is keeping an eye on. LAFC, Mark Anthony K, Palacios, some of the ones you're going to look out for there. Miami, Leerdam, Minnesota, St. Clair. We already talked about that kind of stuff with. We got Minnesota taken care of. Montreal, Lappanainen, Kiza, Wanyama, Waterman, Piet, and Miller. Nashville, Lille, Cadiz, Johnston, and Godoy. Keep an eye on there. So New York Red Bulls, Caceres Jr. We want to keep an eye on. New York City FC, Thorenson, Callens, and Medina. Orlando Galice and Mendez. Philadelphia, Mziazo. I just from the beginning, I knew. Yeah. I thought.
Bazio.
I know. I knew that one, and I just.
Bizo. That's what it is.
I tripped over it. I just choked on that one. I knew that one.
I messed that one. Too. It's not an easy
Bizo. Blake, Burke, Martinez, and Montiero. Portland, Mora, and Bravo. Let's see here. I'm trying to find some of the San Jose Earthquakes, Yule and Lopez. Seattle, here's one right here. Now, Ashley, I think you said this is. I have Nuhu, Ruidiaz, and Arriaga, but you saw some news today.
So they haven't confirmed. Arriaga hasn't been confirmed as a call-up, even though he should be. Nuhu supposedly wasn't going to leave until after the game on Sunday. His camp starts on the 30th, and the 30th is when Seattle plays Austin. So the team hasn't announced that he's leaving. And then Ruidiaz is a similar situation where they haven't said that he's missing that game for national team duty. So that's something that if you feel the need to go with either a Seattle defender or Rui Diaz that you pay attention to during the week, because it should come out before the game, I would imagine, especially with the way those two are on social media. Someone's gonna flag them at the airport in some way, but missing Nuhu, I think, affects a lot of your Seattle defensive choice, and missing Rui Diaz, it's the last game of the week. Like, that's what makes, I think, those choices tricky is if they are missing this week for some reason, it kind of leaves you in a bind fantasy-wise, but the Sounders have not said that they are missing this game yet.
Yeah, Sporting Kansas City, Polito, Toronto, Soteldo, Larea, Nelson, Lawrence, Vancouver is on a bye, so you don't care. And chat pointed out that not all of these players are out, but all of these players have potential to be out. The ones for sure that are going to be out that you're probably looking at, Acosta over at Colorado is definitely out. Leggett and Dos Santos are definitely out. Lapalainen is definitely out. Polito is definitely out. So these are just guys to keep an eye on. They've been identified as being on rosters and call-ups for their teams, and so there is a chance they might not play, or they could see limited minutes because of wanting to make sure they're not hurt or injured going into those call-ups. So keep an eye on that. Head over to Discord. You can check out the lists. Have we gotten this pinned yet, Blaine? Or is it part of the big spreadsheet?
I think there's a separate one for that, Christian. Did we have a separate one for international? Yeah. There's a separate one for internationals, but they are getting listed in the big one, in the mega reference as well. Yeah,
so head over there to check all that. Blaine, I'll throw it off to you and Christian for the rest of the injury report.
Yeah, well, everybody, we've got Christian on the show. Christian's one of the admins that helps us spearhead this mega reference, which does all of the set piece takers and all of our absences. So give him a shout out. Say thanks for all the work he does on it. This week, I thankfully there were not a ton of new additions. The worst one we've got is Andy Polo took a nasty challenge, and it looks like he's probably done for the season. Some massive damage in his knee. I don't know that it was an ACL tear, but I think it's just about as bad as it can be without tearing your ACL. Other than that, I didn't see a ton of new injuries come up. Most of what's been added to the sheet since the weekend was international duty. A couple of red cards. I know, cannot remember who it was for Galaxy that picked up the red card that took Polo out. What?
Williams.
Yeah. So with a couple players missing, adding on another red card will not help. And then there was another red card somewhere else, but I cannot remember which one that was off the top of my head. I don't think that got entered yet. It's been a busy day, so we didn't get to it. So we'll get more information out from Discord. I will try to get some of that running on Twitter as well, because it is internationals and a lot of that. But check us out on Discord. We've got everything there, and it's getting updated. Today was a busy day for me, but it was fun coming in and seeing all sorts of updates and just how this document kept growing even when a couple of key players were out and about all day today.
Yeah, you can access that, the Discord community, very easily by going to mlsfantasyboss.com/discord. There's the link that you can join, and we have over 700 members as part of our community now, so it's an amazing group of people to just to play the game with.
And chat tonight was helping out. It was Andreas Reyes for Red Bulls that got the other red card for the weekend.
There you go. Anything else to add, Christian?
I do not. I spent most of my day doing housekeeping for those documents and stuff, so I never really actually looked at what I was reading.
The data entry, always important, behind the scenes. All right, well, let's move on to segment number 3, our captain picks for round 7.
Captain picks again?
What? Oh, I did it again. I did that last week too. I was like, time for the captain picks. There we go. I just need to make this in the rundown, just bold.
You know what? You guys are fine. There's a lot of call-ups. You guys can figure this out, right? We'll just tell you who to
captain.
There
is just captain. This is the problem. So I called it current round picks. I'm just going to call it player picks. Player picks. That's going to help me not. I see the C and I say captain. This is not the captain.
Brad Smith.
Time.
Oh,
no, never. Never. But ACV NBS. That's what it is. Never Brad Smith. All right. Try this again. The reset. Now time for segment 3. Our player picks for round 7. Okay, so as we usually do, most promising games or just what we're most looking forward to from a fantasy perspective. Christian, kick us off.
I'm looking at LAFC versus New York City. Got some perforation on their back line that doesn't make them the best dang defense in the world ever anymore. So I'm looking at a lot of LAFC opportunities, at least. I don't know if they're going to put them in the back of the net, but at least I hope they will. With Collins being out, and if he's not out injured, he's probably called up. So there was talk as well about Thor Aronson getting called up and not being available for this game, and Tinnerholm is injured. So I was like, oh yeah, like 3/4 of their defense is gone.
Yeah.
Great picking.
And they have to travel across the country.
Yeah, that too. Exactly. Thank you very much. It just felt right. Anyway, next game is Colorado versus FC Dallas. FC Dallas may be able to score. I'm not a big believer in Colorado clean sheets. This could be like 3-2, in my opinion. FC Dallas just loves to let goals in the back of the net. I don't know why. To me, they have a better defense now than they did before, but yeah, they're bad. LA Galaxy versus San Jose, Cali Clasico. That sucker's going to be a barn burner, and I am really debating whether or not Chicharito's worth it because all the hype around that game. I might just pull the trigger on him. The last one is obviously Seattle versus Austin. I think Austin can be good, but I don't think they will be good. So therefore, I'm picking Seattle big time.
Sure.
It's a good way to approach it. Ashley.
Yeah, I'm here for this Cincinnati New England game. I think that New England is debatably one of the best informed teams in the East right now. I know people will say, "What about Philly?" And like that's fair too. But fantasy-wise, from a fantasy perspective, you're getting some real production out of Bo. Obviously, Heel is really clicking. The defenders are kind of hit or miss right now, which is where I think Philadelphia is better for fantasy. But they're also not missing any key pieces, New England. So I'm interested to see how they go into Cincinnati because I will be the first to say it to Reed's face that I don't know that I think Cincinnati is a must bet against all the time, at least for clean sheets anymore, because they're scoring goals. So I'm paying attention to that game. I also love Cali Clasico. Greg Vandy's just done a really good job with that Galaxy team, and I know that they're missing two really important fixtures of their starting lineup, but if anybody's going to score in a Cali Clasico, it's Chicharito. Now, with that said, I'm also flirting with not having him, but San Jose is also San Jose. So in LA, the way he's scored in LA so far this season, it's got to be something to pay attention to. And then, yes, even though they have burned me for the first time this year, I am also here for the Seattle-Austin game. I'm going to it, actually. I'm going to go.
Ooh, fun. Yeah, you guys have picked pretty much all the ones that I was looking into. I mean, this Miami DC game is just teasing me of what could happen. Miami has not been what I hope Miami would have been at times, and DC is not doing well right now. But I don't know. That's interesting. But no, you guys have, I think, hit all the high points for the game. So let's just jump right into our keepers and defenders and clean sheet chances. Blaine.
Yeah, so I'll start with clean sheets like I always do. I like Philadelphia this week, but I am going to kind of watch the international call-ups. If Montiero's gone, that changes things. But I do like the way Philly's playing. It looks like most of their defense is going to be intact. Obviously, Seattle playing Austin. I think when Austin gets home, they're going to be a scoring threat, but I don't know that you can really bank on them against a Seattle team that's this strong. Even if a couple of players are missing, I think Seattle's there. Sporting is one that I want to see that lineup, but there is if a couple of the guys come back, I think this is a chance to get a clean sheet at home. Columbus obviously is another one that's they're not scoring goals, but they're not giving up a ton of goals. Looking there, and then I like Colorado's defense. Sam Vines came back. We had Matt on the show last week. The defense is looking better and better. I think they've got it. I don't trust Dallas on the road at altitude as much. I think this is a chance where you can really go in on Colorado, and I think some of their guys are a little bit cheaper still, which really helps because certain teams like Philly and Seattle are starting to price themselves out of a lot of play. With that said, I'm watching lineups with international duties. I don't know who my first keeper is, and I'm going to be rotating to Cleveland or maybe Stuver, depending on what I'm feeling. I I don't know, the way Seattle attacks, Stuver gets all those bonus points for shooting at him. If you don't like the clean sheet, which I kind of like it for Seattle, so I'll probably have to take Cleveland. But if you want just a better floor, Stuver's probably there. I think he deserves a shout out this week. Have no idea where I'm going for my first goalkeeper because I don't know how much money I've got. I'd love to get one of these clean sheet guys, but they're all kind of getting expensive. And so if Room's out on international duty this weekend, I'll probably go with the Columbus backup just because it's going to be a better value pick. But it kind of is going to depend on rotation.
All right, Ashley.
Yeah, I am also just kind of going back and forth with who I want my bench keeper to be. But my keeperoo is going to be Cleveland just because money, bonus points, who they're playing. I think I miss Stephen Fry, but I don't miss his price tag. So I'm going to pay attention to Cleveland while we have him. I'm also looking at Philly, but watching those international call-ups. I'm also looking at Columbus, but watching those international call-ups. I am considering Chicago's defense, but I saw a lot of people talking about it in Discord, or not a lot of people. I saw it being talked about in Discord today, and amongst my circle as well. But their first shutout was last week against Inter. Some of their defenders have been getting some bonus points, but nothing crazy. They're all still priced so low that tells me that they're not putting up a lot of points per game. But just listening to Reed tell all the people that Montreal are missing, maybe I'm gonna give it a shout. My whole general takeaway with this whole week is to just look at lineups. And I know that that's not helpful on a Monday, but depending on what Montreal puts out, I might give that Chicago defense a shout for my bench.
All right, Christian, who are you looking at?
For clean sheets, Seattle is the only clear one that I see. Atlanta possibly. I'm banking on that actually.
Yeah.
And maybe Sporting Kansas City, depending upon, again, rotation and stuff like that. They have a lot of injuries on their back line. I mean, Ilie is starting center back. And I actually like Chicago's chances at a clean sheet this week. And yeah, small sample size, but guess what? It's against a toothless Montreal team that doesn't seem to want to play soccer, or at least quality soccer. For defenders, I'm going to go 5 at the back again and do 2 defensive scrubs and try the auto route again, since that worked out really well for me last week. My 3 are Lennon. That dude has more crosses than should legally be allowed.
It's free kicks.
And yep. And I'm going Smith and rolled on. And I think a lot of people wanted to double up on Seattle or triple up on Seattle last week. I think this is the week to do it. Not last week. This is the week to do it.
Interesting.
I just do not. I watched very, very closely them play Nashville, and Seattle's defense, I believe, is just as good, if not better, than Nashville's defense. And
I will say to watch that Nuhu situation though, because this new back 3 hasn't happened without him yet, and so
true.
I mean, you're talking to me, so obviously I'm going to sit here and let you say all these nice things about Seattle, but I hesitate just slightly as it's the last game of the week with that, because like I said, I don't know what it's going to look like if he isn't there.
Well, who would it be? Who would be his replacement?
Probably a dual situation. Either they'd put Shane O'Neill in and play with 3 true center backs, or they'd move Brad Smith back there and put someone else on the wing, which I think is less likely. But it's just we haven't seen it without Nuhu. Is my only like somewhat.
That's true. I do like having a natural center back as a replacement there.
Sure.
I think Shane will do fine. If you noticed in that Austin game against Nashville, they couldn't finish. They kept how many shots?
Yeah.
How many on target? One, I think, if I'm not mistaken. One shot on target.
Half a shot.
Entire game.
I love that. That's my favorite interaction. How many? One. I love it. Sorry. Keep going.
I mean, I said that like I knew that was a real answer.
I believed it.
Whatever. I think it's one. Chad's probably going to correct me. So anyway, that's a ballsy pick. I know it's a ballsy pick. I like ballsy picks. All right. Goalkeeper, I've got Cleveland on the back end of a Shuttleworth keeperoo. And I mean, if I'm going to tout Chicago, I'm going to put Shuttleworth in there. So that's me for the defensive side.
As I just said in chat, I think the only real question that most of us have about Seattle, though, is if Nuhu's out there, who's lying down behind the wall?
No one. That's the problem.
Zero people. Zero people.
No, you guys, I think, covered a lot of what I was already looking at as far as defense goes. I think Lennon is a fantastic shout-out. Those crosses are an amazing stat for a lot of these defenders. I know that's something that we've liked from players like Roldan and Smith as well. Those offensive bonus points from these defenders have been amazing, especially since clean sheets have not been as common so far. Like having Vines back. I think having those two Vancouver defenders is just a must for people who are trying to get switcheroos or autoroos going. It's just so easy to make that work with a lot of these options. I like Sporting Kansas City as some options, especially if maybe Zusi sneaks back into the picture. Very cheap player there. Super switcheroo that I know Ashley's going to love right here. Questions about Miami, questions about DC. Maybe it's time you let Breck Shea just fall right in there and see what happens in a crazy week like this. I don't know. He's super cheap, so if you really want to get a differential, that could be a guy that could see some success against DC just because it's been so crazy. That's the only kind of weird one I'll throw out there, but otherwise I think you guys covered a lot of those options.
You do realize that LGP is suspended, right?
I do, but I'm not counting on a clean sheet. I'm counting on Breck Shea doing something ridiculous and getting some sort of crazy goal. So
enjoy your two.
I mean, hey, I'm not doing it. I'm laying out the way for the people to consider just some alternate options for fantasy that may not have come to mind. Sometimes it's good reason.
And that someone might be Breck Shea.
You never know. Exactly. You never know. And Higuain does pass the ball sometimes as well, and maybe it's to Breck Shea. So there it goes.
He might sprain a thumb on a tweet accident.
I also have Cleveland Shuttleworth as a switcheroo. Keeper was a very difficult position for me to pick this week, just with a lot of these absences there. That's a really tough spot to find a lot of us in. I saw people mentioning in chat something about LA Galaxy and some of their defense, and I am still I have no interest in LA Galaxy defense. They have been very leaky in the back, and I could easily see San Jose finding something. I mean, with Cade Cowell and with Wando right there, with some of those, with your options, I could easily see something getting through in that. So I just don't want any part of an LA Galaxy defensive line.
In chat here for just a hot second with one player, and that's Araujo. I think there was 2 games. There's at least one game where he started. He's obviously listed as a defender, but he started as one of the top wingers, right, in a 3 formation. Maybe in that situation, I could see it, but I think if you're banking on LA Galaxy defense, I think you're a little too quick to dismiss San Jose, like you just said. Like, they're not missing them. Yule and one other player, they're not missing too many people, and this is. Before the Galaxy, this was one of the biggest rivalry games, LAFC. This is one of the biggest rivalry games in MLS. So,
but they do have trophies. I mean,
sure. I just
he did get 8 points last week, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Araujo would be my kind of devil's advocate.
I mean, you can say that the double edge of that sword with Araujo being out of position is that, unlike those forward players, he's going to lose those points. He's going to lose that clean sheet bonus. If they score more than one, he's going to take those bigger penalties. Then, I mean, the forwards aren't taking any. The midfielders are just going to lose one, but those defenders are going to take those bigger hits. So, I mean, it's entirely possible. This could be like a 2-2, a 2-3 kind of crazy game with what happens. So that is, I think there are too many better options for solid wing backs that are going to have chances at better bonus points than hoping Araujo could try to get a goal. So,
Oh, and what's his price at? What is he, 6?
He's $6 million.
Yeah.
So he's definitely cheaper. I
Not
mean,
too bad.
Vines is 6.7, Smith 7.3, Lennon's 7 and change. But Fontas is 6 or 7 over with Sporting Kansas City. If you're looking at that, so then I also saw somebody else mention Cameron with Cincinnati. He could very well get a whole lot of bonus points. That's been a fantastic thing that he's earned so far. I do again wonder that if New England starts getting to a couple of goals, you're going to see those penalties chip away at the bonus points really quick. So he'd be a fun differential if you want to do something like that. But I would not be that bold to go with Cameron with Cincinnati at home against New England. Though I will say, does anybody else think it's weird that we don't have a picture of Cameron to put into? Like, I mean, surely.
For picture day, it was raining.
Well, I mean, surely we've got something in the archive. I don't know. I just thought that was weird. I'm like, I mean, I don't. We don't even have one for Rui Diaz. So that's the picture situation has been strange. We can get that Columbus logo loaded in super quick, but we can't get like the new Columbus, the new Columbus logo we can get loaded in.
Every time they change it, it's updated, but
we can't get the picture. So, but no, that's a spiral we're not going to go down. So, okay, great. Let's move on to midfielders. Ashley.
I like Heel. I liked Montero earlier this morning when I started. I don't know how much I like him anymore with international call-ups. Mostly because Montero has a hefty price tag, and he's one of the only Sunday games. So makes me a little cautious. That's not really a team where I'm like, oh, well, if Montero's out, I'll just flip to Alejandro Bedoya. I mean, so I'm a little hesitant there. I like him in that matchup if he's in that matchup. I like Zella Ryan, although, like I said earlier, I'm just a little nervous with how Columbus isn't scoring from anything else but free kicks. And then I like João Paulo this week. I like him most weeks. I just never find a way to fit him in my lineup since Cleveland came in. So I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want Brad Smith, because he and I are on a break right now, or if I want João Paulo.
You're on a timeout?
Yeah, we're on a timeout. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to make a big deal out of it.
But
yeah, he's still taking all the free kicks. I loved hearing Stu Holden. I don't know if we've said this on the show, but my circle of Sounders fan friends hate Nico Ladero from the corners and free kicks and love João Paulo. And they mentioned that on the national broadcast this week, and we were just like, Brian Smetzer, are you listening? He's so much better at this. But he's picking up points on those things. So I do like him there. And then I'm also looking at maybe a Tuesta, looking at that LAFC midfield and how they work without K, but that is also kind of lineup dependent for me.
Christian.
I have Gil. Jesus. Heel.
Reed brings it out of you.
Even I get that one right.
You're rubbing off on
Even
me.
I get that one right.
I know. I have Heel. Carlos Heel. I also have Montero. Zelarayan. Chalk. Here's where it doesn't go chalk. I also have Reynoso because he's fixture proof. And you guys are going to groan. But I have Julian Gressel right now because and here's why. I'm just imagining chaps growing up. What the heck are you talking about? Like Flores went out and they put him in at the 10. They put Gressel in at the 10 position, and he, in what was it, like 70 minutes, earned 5 attacking bonus points. Okay, that's enough for me to go, okay, I don't care if this guy, without a goal, the guy scored like, what did he, wait a second, let me just look. I think he might have had
8?
Did he have an assist?
They didn't score.
Nope, he didn't do anything. Okay, so he has 5 attacking bonus points, another bonus point, and his 2 points for playing minutes, and that's an 8. I'll take that for 7.8 million. Thank you. He's on my bench. So that's my mids.
Yeah, those are solid. Blaine, who are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the same core with Heel, João Paulo, and Zelarayan. I think a lot of people are going to end up with those 3. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of them, even if you don't like their matchups quite as well. I think enough people are going to take Zelarayan. Columbus isn't scoring from open play, but I think he's a safe bet, especially when you start seeing names like Monteiro getting tied with being called up. I do have him in my lineup at the moment, but I am waffling on that one a little bit because it is so late as the call-ups go. He was in my first draft because I went all out forward. I think if he's not going to be there, I'm probably going to switch to Krylock. I've seen his name come up in chat, but home game, RSL's playing pretty well. His worst score is a 4, and that was the first game of the season for them. He's got a lot of potential, not too expensive as well. So sorry to bet against you guys, Christian, but I think he's a good shout at this point. And then my last one, which I can't believe hasn't been said yet, is Atuesta for LAFC. New York City's missing a few players, potentially. We don't know quite what's going to happen there, and LA has been playing well. Atuesta's getting enough of the ball. If Vela's back, he makes everybody better. If he's not fully fit and doesn't play, Atuesta's going to get more of the opportunities. So I think it's a win-win all around. I think you kind of got to go Atuesta this week. Just given all the potential absences all over the place, I think that's one you can kind of bank on getting consistent points.
Yeah, I like the Gressel pick. I actually hadn't thought about him, mostly because I just overlooked DC so quickly, and I was looking.
Understandable.
Yeah. I was looking over at Chicago as maybe a more differential pick with Blaine, the name.
Stoyanovich.
Yep, with Stoyanovich was who I was looking. I just like calling to Blaine. Blaine, say it. There we go. But Stoyanovich was a midfielder that I was looking at because of some of his success, and again going up with that Montreal exodus for the call-up. I thought that was a good shot, so I'll definitely give him a plug. I had Atuesta as well, and I know we're going to be talking about Vela soon. You'd already teased your pick, Christian. So I was looking at a Vela Atuesta combination to go up against that potentially just gutted New York City backline. I really like that. And I was with you, Ashley, with Polo having JP there in the middle, but after hearing Christian talking more about Minnesota, I think he's one that I could easily have fade quickly just to see, because again, he's, as I mentioned at the top of the show, they are playing on Sunday. You could easily see who Minnesota has, and so I could easily see slotting in a Minnesota player instead of having Palo, and then that gives some more flexibility to, do you want to move to a 3 Seattle back line, or if is really Diaz going to be there, you could slot him in for another forward position. So yeah, you guys have brought up some good points, but otherwise I think you're right. Sort of a heel, and then maybe a Zelarayan might be a core for a lot of people this week that they're building teams around, and then see what happens from there. Okay, let's move on to our forward picks since we've already been teasing Vela. Christian, you may go first.
And this is why I don't have Atuesta, because I'm picking Vela and Rossi.
Yeah, no.
And I fully expect, frankly, a rout. And I also have Shallowy because he's the right price and he's due for a price rise, and yes, I may have scored a giant bunch of points last week, but I'm still behind on the budget. So I have to be attentive to that. But Shallowy is a decent shout because he is really, it's like Shallowy of like, what was it, like 3 years ago, you know, when he just could not miss the net, you know? And then he took a little hiatus. But yeah, I'm happy to see him really producing now. It's really very exciting to me. So even though he's like our arch rival, I'm still picking him.
Blaine.
Yeah, well, you just lead right into that. You should get on Sporting's Twitter and see all the fans. Shallowy is back has been trending as a big thing. Yeah, a few years ago he was a 10-10 player. You don't find too many of those in the younger crowd, and he's a 10-10 player that cost the team $150,000 for the year. Right now, with Polito out, he's going to get more opportunities. I don't know if that helps or hurts his overall value for fantasy. Because Polito is just doing so much for this team, but I think Shallowy can get some stuff done still. I think you kind of got to take him this week. I've got him there. I've also got Vela. As long as he starts, I'm going with it. I don't see where the game's early enough. You can roll to some other players. You've got players behind him. Chicharito's still behind him. Diego Rubio's behind him for a later game if you want to go with the cheaper option. Rubin's still there for the last game of the weekend or of Saturday. You've got some options if Vela doesn't start, but I expect him to start. And then my third one's kind of up in the air. I started looking through the international call-ups, and I've kind of dumped Chicharito off of this team. I want to see who starts. That game is early enough that I don't think I have to make a hard decision. I've got some fallbacks there, but I'm kind of starting to fade Chicharito just because if Dos Santos and Leggett are out, I just don't know where the possession's going to come from the Galaxy. And if they don't have the possession, I don't see Chicharito getting the bigger scores. I don't. So that's why I said Rubio and Rubin are ones there. And because chat's just kind of talking about it and Ashley started it, I have half a mind to put Zardes in my team for the first time this year. Because I think this...
Don't do it, Blaine!
That's why they're not scoring, Blaine!
You jinxed it.
Yeah, so I don't know, that Toronto game is just so tempting to go full in on Zardes, do the Zardes and Zella and just see what happens. But I don't know if I can do it yet. I haven't seen it from Zardes. Like, I'm not feeling it. Sure. My favorite player, like, I have a different favorite player every year that, like, got stuck on Zardes for a while. Favorite player right now, or kind of a toss-up between Dahome and Stoyanovich. So that's why I'm fading Zardes so much. I've got other favorites right now, and maybe I've got to do it and just experiment with it. I'm not making Champions League, so maybe it's Zardes captain time. I don't know.
It's clearly Stoyanovich because that's more fun for me to have you say. Yeah. Ashley.
Call-ups have changed a lot of things, like I said, that I started this morning. I like Vela. I'm looking at the lineups for Chicharito. Like I said, I feel like it's his first rivalry game. He's at home. I don't want to completely say no to him, but it's going to take a pretty crappy San Jose lineup and shockingly impressive Galaxy lineup, I think, for me to keep him. I am looking at Raul Ruiz. He scored 6 and 7. The night game's not scaring me when it comes to him, but it's making me cautious with some of the midfielders and stuff. I'm also considering Higuain, and I don't know why. I don't know. I can't. Miami is so
bad.
Right? I mean, yes. But so's DC. I don't know. Well, we'll see if I actually follow through with that. I think it's just something that I want to do that I know I shouldn't do. And then Christian and I talked about this. I'm also flirting with the Bo as a striker idea. Like I also said, I don't think Cincinnati's as bad as we always tell Reed that they are. So I don't know if I have the courage to. But he's put up 2 good weeks, and they're not missing that many people in New England. So we'll see how I feel with that too. I don't think I'll have the courage to do that, but I want to try.
Cincinnati's just better with Acosta. That's what it comes out to. They're better with Acosta. So when they can have any kind of relief in midfield, being able to give it to Acosta.
So he's like,
I know, right? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome indeed. There was something you said that else I was going to comment about, but I got distracted by thinking about Cincinnati. So do what?
Robo Shoulder distracted you?
Robo Shoulder distracted me. Yeah. The thing about DC that you're thinking, yes, Miami is bad. DC, you could make an argument for one. They have a forward that doesn't work in their system with Kamara needing service, and not many people who can give him that service, probably beyond consistent service, maybe beyond Gressel. And then two, the injuries and just the exhaustion that this new system has put into DC. So yes, DC is bad, but you could maybe even almost say for right now they've got some fitness hurdles and recovery hurdles that they could then maybe be okay. Miami doesn't really have that excuse. They've just been bad.
Yeah.
So that's the caveat. But again, I still think it's fine to bet against DC because they are still injured and they are still trying to get a handle on this. Right, and they're on the road. But that's what's calling you to Miami is like DC. But I think I would rather go with a Gressel differential than a Higuain differential if I'm picking from that game.
Yeah, DC, their defense is not that bad. I mean,
they were peppering offensively the other night and just could not. Philly could not. I thought for sure that they were going to get a goal in that second half, and just
they stopped Philly. They stopped somebody else pretty good the week before. Can't remember because I'm old. But I just think that DC has a lot of good pieces. I like the Gressel pick only because
bonus points.
Yeah, bonus points, has a floor at the 10 position. And let me just say this. I reserve the right to take back any of these picks during the week.
Yep.
Of course.
It says that at the bottom, right? When we start this show? Is that not?
Is there not a disclaimer at the bottom? That should be on a constant scroll, Reed.
It probably should be. No, I'll see if I can do that. The budget for next year. And don't forget, Bobby Boswell told me when I messaged him that to check back with him after 10 weeks and see if he is still playing, and then he would come on the show. So we don't want to bash DC too much because we might have Bobby Boswell on the show. So be nice, and we'll let him.
I'm not bashing DC.
No, that's what I just said. Let's not bash DC. All right. On producer Anders, if we had one, would be waving like flags and shooting fireworks at us right now. So let's move on to our switcheroo options. Christian.
Oh shoot. I have to scroll down. Okay. Really quick. Lindsay from SKC is only 4.9. If you like their defense, he's a good option. Williams, if you like Columbus's defense, is only 5 mil. Buchanan, he put up like a 10 last week. He's only 6 mil, and he's on the right wing, I believe. I actually put Cameron down here because why the hell not? I'm brown nosing, right?
He has a good shot at value, I'd say, if nothing else.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's going to rise in price no matter what happens this week. So he's 5.9. If you want to take a chance. So, yeah. There are tons of players I had on that list before that I took off so that I could let other people talk. So go ahead.
Ashley.
I like Rubio. But I feel like now that I listened to Christian talk about Minnesota, I'm gonna like rethink that because I'm gonna think that they're gonna be so good and stuff. So and maybe
is that Rubio? Is that Rubin?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Rubin.
Oh, okay. Well, Ruby is his first name. Okay.
Right. He and I are on a first name basis.
And why wouldn't he be with you?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
he scored another goal. I'm kind of paying attention to that RSL match. I'm not too sure. I still am here for Caden Clark. I know we've stopped talking about them. Their young kid hype has kind of died down, but he's still pretty inexpensive with a pretty good point average, weekly point average. So I'm looking at him for a switcheroo option this week as a midfielder. Mostly just for budget. We talked about Stoyanovich, but he came in as a sub. He only played 31 minutes last week, and I don't know enough about Chicago to know why. So that's just something I'm paying attention to as I'm considering him for a bench option is he starting? And that goes with everyone, obviously. But I think a general rule for teams this week is not to be married to a lineup because you got to have some options in mind for if this person's not starting, what do you do? Or if all their center backs are out, what do you do? And so I don't think you should get super attached to anybody necessarily this week. But Stoyanovich is one where if he's starting, I'm considering him for my bench for sure.
Excellent. Blaine.
Yeah, I mean, Shalloway's the guy we talked up. I don't know. I throw him down here as a switcheroo just because I don't know what he's going to do without Polito. Stoyanovich, just because of his price, is an easy bench option. You can put more money somewhere else and see what he does. I like the other Rubio for Colorado as a switcheroo option. If you're looking for one, and then along with him, if you need a midfielder instead of a forward, Barrios has quietly been coming on strong lately. I know Reed shakes his head.
Right?
What?
He came from Dallas.
So that this is a revenge game. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's quietly been putting up steady numbers. Surprisingly strong recently. Got a slow start, but his average over his last few games has been much better. I agree with Reed.
It's a trick. It's a trick. You put him in your team and he'll get a 2.
Yeah, he never does anything for me when I have him. So I've always done it. But that's why you put him on the bench. He believes he lives in the bench. Because if he gets you a 2, you never have to worry about it. You just skip it. But it's really hard to argue with an 8 and a 9 in his last 2 games, and then the one before that's Reed's patented 2. But he's only got 1-2 this season, so he's getting better. Maybe getting away from Dallas is helping him, but no, Barrios is your quintessential bench pick, switcheroo pick, and I really think at home versus Dallas is a great time to really bring him in.
I had Barrios too, by the way.
He
was in place of Gressel before I switched.
You all make fair points, and I will also throw in right now because I think Tyler and chat will explode if we don't say him. Donovan Pines did sub back in the last DC game, so potentially Donovan Pines could be a value option if you want to go with DC versus Miami. I don't, but like I said, I think Tyler was literally going to explode if we didn't say Donovan Pines. So there we go. And now, finally, teased at the beginning of this segment, captain picks. Blaine.
Oh, you make me go first.
I did.
I just copy pasted from last week. It's Carlos Heel is your captain pick. Although I could be swayed. I saw what he did last weekend. It could be time to bring back always Captain Vela. I think this matchup is worth it to consider. I know, but that's 60 minutes on his way back to 90. Everybody goes through those short ones. And he got 7 points in, I think, 59 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even get the extra point for playing 60 minutes in the game. He got a 7, had an assist. That means he picked up 3 bonus points in 59 minutes. That's a solid return. I don't know, given his price, that's why I think you got to take him as the price. I want to see the lineups.
I love your note, Ashley.
I mean, Brad Smith. I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna do it until it hits, and then I'll change it. No, I'm going to captain Carlos Hill because if I captained him last week, I would have had a much different week. I would have beat Reed. I would feel better about myself. So I think that just the form he's in and the team he's playing with, on the road or not, I just think it's hard to look away. There's not a player for me that stands out as more obvious, but sometimes that's not the most obvious isn't always the best choice. But I think this week it's got to be Heel.
Christian.
Well, I have Heel down there, but I don't like captaining necessarily an away player.
Yeah, same.
But it's against Cincinnati. Got to do it.
I mean, if you want to double down on Seattle defense, I'm going to double dog dare you to triple down and Captain Brad Smith.
I'm not. That's not happening.
Never captain.
I'm not trying to ruin your fantasy league hopes either, Christian. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I climbed my way to this point.
Yeah,
I'm not going to purposely tank it. So I do have a secondary pick, and that would be Montero. Self-explanatory. Go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, I like Montero. Just that question about him getting called up is the only thing that has me caution. I would also go with Heel as well, but I share your trepidation of having a captain on an away player. But Cincinnati does definitely give opportunities for. I haven't looked at the shot stats for this past week, but they tend to give ample opportunities for scoring. And Heel at the number 9 is something that we can usually count on.
Reed, it's coming up, and chat's all in on Heel, and I get it, and you guys have both said it, and I kind of thought this too. On the road, but look at his road scores this year: 9 points at Chicago, 5 at Nashville, and I think it was Nashville's first clean sheet, and then 10 at Philadelphia. And Philadelphia's got a stacked defense.
No, that's fair, but that was also during CCL, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was right as it ended, I think, but still 10 without a goal or an assist on the road at Philadelphia. That's no goal or assist. I get it. He's on the road, New England on the road, but a 5, a 9, and a 10 for his 3 road games, and his 5 came against a good defense in Nashville. FC Cincinnati is closer to on par with Chicago's defense, where he also got a 9.
I mean, it's on Heel. I don't need to convince you. I just say I share Christian's worry about putting the armband on an away player because, I mean, just the history of MLS does have the advantage with the home team, but Cincinnati is bad. I mean, and that's what it is. And so I'm
there with you.
Good.
Like, my gut is telling me you can't captain an away player. Like, you're never supposed to captain an away player. And I agree with that. That's why I'm kind of waffling on Vela at home, given the form, but a 5, a 9, and a 10 justifies it. I'm trying to talk myself into it as much as anybody else.
Well, I mean, yeah, for sure, Heel.
Yeah, it's on Heel for me too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're like superstitious or something, go with Montero.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for sharing your picks. For those of you listening to us tonight and for those listening on the podcast, I hope that has helped you get those creative juices going, maybe open up some new ideas, or help reinforce your picks that you're debating about with your own superstitions. That's all that we have for the show tonight, so let's move on to our plugs. Christian.
I got nothing except for the Discord.
That's a great one to plug. Blaine.
Nothing. Just thanks to the team at Discord for doing all the work today.
Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing. I'm trying to be better at my Discording. I say that every week. And I don't know if I'm getting better, but I'm trying. And then you can just find me on Twitter. Saboteur.
That's all good. Well, I will, of course, as always, plug MLSFantasyBoss.com. I will plug our amazing Patreon community. If you want to learn more about how to be involved in supporting our podcast and becoming a patron and getting access to the perks that go along with that, you can head over to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/MLSFI to find out more about that. You can also head over to, of course, the Discord, but there's also the subreddit r/FantasyMLS, where we do have Rate My Team posts, though the auto post is not working right now, so you can just push your Rate My Team in the main thread. That's fine there. But the rant thread as well, and just general questions and tips get posted there as well. So a lot of ways to be involved in this community and share and learn. And thank you so much for everyone who has participated so far, and welcome any new ones who wish to participate in the future. But that's all that we have for tonight, and as always, good luck.